Hey gaming fans, so today's another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and this one is for the GOAT format, again. This is a direct attack deck, so the object of this deck is to try and get all the monsters that can attack your opponent directly, and hold off their monsters while your monsters can still go and attack. So, the first two monsters I have here is Nightmare Horse. I mean, a lot of them are very weak, but there's a reason for that. If they were like really strong, then these decks would have taken off. But anyways, he's 500. He's 500 attack, and he can attack your opponent directly, even if there's a monster on your side of the field. So pretty basic effect there, and that's why they make them weak. If they wanted them any stronger, they would have to be like the Toons, where you need like Toon World and all that stuff just to make them work. And then we got 3 of the Jinzo number 7. Again, this monster can attack directly. Also 500 attack. So I do have ways to beef them up, just so we can move it along faster. But the idea is, obviously, if you're stalling your opponent and these guys just keep attacking, you're going to chip away at your opponent's life points pretty quickly. So then we got 3 Servant of the Catabolism. So it's a 700 attack, so a little bit bigger. I think he's like the biggest attacker out of all of them. I know there's like Mucus Yoke who could slowly gain up attack, but I wanted these guys that had like, you know, original attacks, not 0 attack in the beginning. And then Inaba White Rabbit. This one, he's also 700 attack. Problem is though, he is a spirit, so he will bounce back to your hand. I put 1 in here because it's kind of good that he doesn't stay on the field, that your opponent can't, you know, destroy him on their turn. But it would get annoying if you had more than one, you know, you can't summon more than once a turn, so just to have 1, just for fun. Now, those are the direct attackers, so to help out with doing some damage, I put in 2 Stealth Birds. Since we're going to be stalling a lot in this deck, why not? I mean, these guys just keep every turn, they just flip up, do 1,000 damage, and then flip face down. So almost like doing a direct attack, where it's just every turn they're just doing damage. Then to add a little bit of like the Pac-Man or the flip-flop or whatever you want to call it, I put in the 2 Des Lacuta. That's just to draw some cards, just to get some more hand advantage and get some more direct attackers on the field. 1 Swarm of Locust to deal with any spell or trap, so he pretty much just flips up, destroys a spell or trap on your opponent's side of the field, and then he sets himself again. So if your opponent might be playing stuff that you might want to get rid of, at least you have 1 Swarm of Locust. And then I put in 2 Swarm of Scarabs. These guys are pretty much used in the Pac-Man deck. You can just basically flip it up, destroy a monster, and then flip it face down. So if your opponent tries to start, you know, filling the field with monsters, waiting to get rid of your floodgates, to do a direct attack on you, or wreck your monsters, or whatever, at least you can start eating them up with your swarms. And the last monster we have is a Sangan. I pretty much put him in there as he can search out every monster in your deck, so why not? I mean, he's 1,000 attack, so even if you can get some direct attacks through, you know, in the meantime or whatever, and then if their opponent does kill him, you get to search out whatever you need. So if you need your servants or your Nightmare Horse or whatever, you know, grab what you need. Now for the monsters, or sorry, for the spells, we have Pot of Greed, obviously, and Graceful Charity. I'm not playing Delinquent Duo in this deck because this deck does eat up some life points. So I just kind of wanted to stick with the basics. So we just got some draw power. And then for stalling, we have 3 Messenger of Peace. So monsters of 1,500 attack or more cannot attack. So all your monsters are weak, and we do have some ability to make them a little bit stronger in this deck and still be able to attack under Messenger of Peace. And of course, level limit area B. I believe you're only allowed 2 in GOAT format, so I maxed out on the area Bs. This will help prevent cards like anything that's bigger than you by shifting them into defense mode if they're level 4 or higher. Here's the card that I was talking about, 3 Black Pendants. Now, I went with these obviously because it increases your opponent's monster's attack by 500. So putting it on your Servant of Cataclysm, your Jinzo, and your Nightmare Horse will boost their attack to like 1,000 or more, but you'll still be able to slip under your Messenger of Peace. If you use cards like Acts of Despair or anything else, they're going to be too big, so they won't be able. If you have your Messenger of Peace out, you won't be able to attack either. So that's why I went with these. Also, the added bonus, if your opponent does try to destroy them, or if they leave the field for any reason, they take an extra 500 damage, so why not? Then for fun, I threw in a Wave Motion Cannon. You know, this is one of those cards where you draw it. If you draw it first turn, you just put it on the field and hope it goes through. And then to add a little bit of help, one Magic Reflector. You could put this on your Wave Motion Cannon if you want, so it takes them, 2 shots to try and destroy it. Obviously, Giant Trunade is going to ruin your day, but, you could use it on your level limits, your messengers, whatever you need to. Now for the traps, we're going to have 2 Gravity Binds. Same idea, as your level limit area B, just to prevent your opponent's bigger monsters from attacking, and all your monsters are level 3 and lower. 2 Wall of Revealing Light. This is what I was saying. We do use up a lot of life points in this deck to activate certain cards. This one for sure. When you activate this card, you pay multiples of 1,000 life points. None of your opponent's monsters would attack equal to or less than that cannot attack. So you probably would be using paying about 2,000 to keep all your opponent's 2,000 and under monsters. You can even go higher than that if you want. It depends on what you think your opponent is playing. Then for some added control, I threw in 2 Robin Goblins. So every time one monster on your side of the field inflicts battle damage to your opponent discards 1 random card from their hand. So you're going to always be direct attacking and then grabbing cards out of their hand. So if your opponent tries to hold on to their hand, waiting for MSTs or whatever to get rid of your floodgates, you could start knocking out their hand. And if they start sending cards to the field, you have your Swarm of Scarabs and your Locust to deal with those. And then, of course, we're playing a lot of traps, so I put in some fake traps, just so, a heavy storm doesn't ruin your day. Again, Giant Trunade will, but we do have some defense in the form of Solemn Judgment. This is a card you'd want to use carefully in this deck, not just use it willy-nilly. You want to make sure you negate the proper cards with this. Any card that's going to ruin your day or destroy your floodgates or your back row, that's going to potentially your opponent's going to win the game. Even using it on, say, like a Blackluster Soldier or something, because that would just be awful. Even if they got one of those out on the field, to be banishing your direct attackers every turn. So you got to use it wisely, because I didn't put any spell or trap destruction in here. Back row destruction other than your Locust, wherever the heck I put them. The Locust guy, Swarm of Locust, and then monster destruction through him. So you got to be careful. You need your monsters. Anyways, that's the build I came up with. I wanted to build something different, something that allows you to get these little guys across, and after a couple of turns, your opponent's really going to start feeling the pressure of the direct attacks. Anyways, hope you liked the deck. Throw some comments down below. I always like to hear what you have to say. If you have any suggestions, or what should I add or delete from this deck, I always want to hear it. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.